Hello, welcome back. Now it's time to paint our tulip red. In order to really drive home the importance of underpainting, for this layer I'm only going to use Winsor red on the tulip. Winsor red has a slightly cool bias, so it may make the yellow a little bit muddy, but I want to use just one red so you can really judge the effects of the underpainting. In truth, most of the time I paint with far more layers and far more colors. We're going to use a wet on wet technique, and I usually paint just one petal at a time so that I can really control the darks and the lights. I'm painting with a lot of water in the center. Oh, and as you may notice, I got so excited to jump in that I forgot to mix up my color with a little bit of water. It really is better to mix up your color first before you apply the water on the image, because otherwise it dries out and you lose the benefits of the wet on wet. So I painted mostly in the center, and now with the paint and a synthetic brush, I'll bring the color right to the edges. I'm usually far more concerned about the edges than the center. I like it when the color doesn't completely cover everything. Don't feel like you can't leave any white spots on the flower. You absolutely can. And also it would be great to leave some of the underpainting showing through. Gives you a little even more interest. Now that I've got the paint on there, I'm just going to tip it slightly and allow the color to flow. I have a little bit of a dry spot here, so just touch that with the color. And we're getting a beautiful glow. Let's move on to the next petal. Our paint is already mixed up, so we just need to wet the area. Again, I'm applying the water more towards the center. I'll worry about the edges when I use my synthetic brush and the color. Being really careful for the edges. I'm right-handed, and so that curve, this curve is more natural for me to paint this way, but never be afraid to turn your paper if it gives you more a better angle for what you're working on. I'm letting all the paint run to the edge so I can tip it slightly. There we go. Now the next petal that I work on, I don't want it to be wet, so I'm going to jump to this little one tucked way in the back here. The brush size that you should choose would be the size that the largest size that most comfortably fits into the space that you're working on. The reason being that a larger brush applies paint in a more smooth manner, and I find that I enjoy florals when the paint is applied more smoothly. Okay, I'm going to dry this up and I'll be right back.